Ready for an outrageous fact? The 2022-23 Oklahoma City Thunder have an offensive rating of 114.1, which at the All-Star break ranks 12th in the league. That, though, is not the outrageous thing. This part is. That offensive rating is the highest ever in Oklahoma City Thunder history. And I don't think I need to remind you the historical lineage of players and teams the Thunder have had. So what that tells us is two things. The NBA is going absolutely bonkers in terms of offensive evolution and explosiveness. And two, this young Thunder team is doing some pretty interesting stuff on the offensive end. But before we even dive into this, let's go back to something Sam Presti said last year when he was introducing the 2022 rookie class.
I think these guys are really solid decision makers. And the game is a game of decision and has continued to become a game of decision. And as I said at the end of the season, when we're playing our best, there's less pattern and more rhythm to what we do. And these guys are rhythm players, and they're instinctual. And I think, again, when you combine that with the last group that we have, you can see that type of player amplifies those of the other people wearing the jersey with them. And that's really exciting.
That identity, less patterns, more rhythm, is actually something Presti talked about at the end of last season. And he referenced a game, or really a quarter, that had been cited internally as sort of the standard of play the Thunder are looking for. It was in Dallas, January 17th, where OKC overcame a deficit by playing in total two-way rhythm, like water moving back and forth, with physicality on one end flowing to the ball zipping around on the other.
But that basketball, that was a look at what it can potentially be over time. There was just a symmetry of the group and a fortitude of the group. And I sent that section of the game to Mark, and we talked about it later. And like you don't know when that stuff happens, and it's very fleeting, right, during a season. So a lot of times you think things take longer, than they should. But when they happen faster than you thought they could. And like that game, that 6 minutes was like, where did that come from? Well, it came from all the games up until January 16th and last year's games. And then we've kind of slipped into this rhythm where everybody was playing at a high level.
So the seeds of the Thunder offense have been sown over the last couple seasons, and we're really just now starting to see some of the sprouts of it. The Thunder's offensive style is distinct, with a certain flair and a constant churn. Cutting, passing, moving, driving, cutting, passing, driving, moving, over and over. It's all based on quick decisions, both on the ball and off, when to cut, when to drive, when to pass. The Thunder put lineups on the floor with versatility and skill at all 5 spots, with every player capable of making a decisive play to either transport the ball from one side of the floor to the other, or to attack the basket. They do play a lot of extra small lineups to enhance this, which at times has hurt OKC inside with rim protection and rebounding. So one thing that could help in the future is a shot blocking big man that could, say, pass and handle and shoot. If only the Thunder had something like that.
One can only dream.
Let's dig into this a little, though. The Thunder lead the league in drives at around 65 a game. And to put that into context, the next closest team in the NBA is the New York Knicks at 56 a game. That is a massive difference.
Huge!
Shai Gilgeous-Alexander has led the league individually in this category now 4 seasons running. And when the Thunder drive, they're tops in points, tops in passes, shots, and free throws, and they don't really turn it over very much. The Thunder ranks 16th in the league in passes per game, which might seem low for this type of offense, but keep in mind this. They're also 3rd in pace. So there are a lot of possessions that are 2 or 3 passes. And with it, they rank 5th in shortest time with the ball per touch, which means the ball is zipping around rather than sticking. And so much of this is being pushed along by a growing chemistry among the group. Continuity was something the team talked about in training camp, and we're seeing that play out. Like this play from the Thunder's game against the Pacers was awesome. and it was picked up by a keen-eyed Redditor where Josh Giddey gives this super subtle little gesture to SGA, and SGA reads it for a perfectly timed back cut. It's like Presti was talking about with that Mavs game. No one was speaking, it was just the language of basketball doing the talking from one player to another. Or this play where Giddey hits Jalen Williams on a cut. First, J-Dub starts his cut before Giddey passes it, and Giddey is passing it before J-Dub starts his cut. I don't know how, but that's what looks like happened. There's one more element to OKC's offense, and it's the discipline and intelligence. This play against the Cavs is a great example. After SGA had his shot blocked, the ball came back around to Giddey with 6 on the shot clock. Probably like 90% of players are taking that 3. It was pretty open, it was in solid rhythm, and the shot clock was draining. But Giddey was patient and pressed the defense with a drive. That little move brought Jarrett Allen up 2 steps, vacating the space around the basket. Aaron Wiggins, who is an awesome cutter by the way, saw this and filled that space with a quick cut to the paint, and Giddey dropped it to him for an easy layup with still 3 on the shot clock. Discipline, recognition, decisiveness, intelligence. That wasn't a design set. That's just speaking basketball. All these plays are rhythm, not patterns. Of course, so much of this is enhanced by the incredible talent of Shai Gilgeous-Alexander. When you have a player that is scoring 30 plus a game, it can make any offense look pretty good. But as Mark Daignault has said, you don't want it to become just putting a coin in a machine with SGA. Flow has to prevail. Rhythm has to maintain. Kirk Goldsberry talked about this recently on an ESPN Daily podcast, what he called the rise of the heliocentric star, which is a very nerdy way to say ball hog. And that sounds like a negative thing, but it's more about how teams continue to try to get smarter and explore avenues to efficiency. And sometimes the best route to it is just putting the ball in the hands of a great player over and over and over again. The Thunder, though, don't really do that with SGA. Of the 6 current players averaging 30 or more, SGA has the lowest usage rate. And if it continues, it would be the lowest usage by a 30-point scorer since Damian Lillard in 2019. SGA's rise has coincided with the positive development of a lot of other players, which is a really hard needle to thread. A lot of this is learning how to play together. For example, in the 2021-22 season, the 2-man lineup of SGA and Giddey was at 103.4 points per 100 possessions. This season, it's right at 113 points per 100 possessions. And in January, as a team, the Thunder went 9-5 with the 3rd best offensive rating, the 7th best defensive rating, and the 2nd best overall net rating. That is called growth.
They grew up so fast.
All of this has produced a dynamic, versatile attack that has produced record-setting games for OKC. The Thunder set a new franchise mark with 150 points against the Celtics, with, by the way, SGA not even playing in that game, and then broke it with 153 against the Rockets, where SGA had 42 in 3 quarters. And then there was the game against Indiana, where the Thunder assisted on 41 of 47 baskets, which is just a ridiculous ratio. And the 41 assists were a new franchise record as well. And since mid-December, over a 25-game stretch, the Thunder produced an offensive rating of 118.2, 5th best in the league over that span, which is more than a quarter of a season. The development is real. At the end of November, OKC ranked 21st in offense. At the end of December, 25th. At the end of January, 19th. And now, at the break, again, 12th overall. All of this comes after ranking 30 out of 30 in offensive rating the last 2 seasons. Of course, it's not a finished product, and the Thunder are still going through the ups and downs of being the youngest team in the NBA. But January felt like a mini breakthrough, or a blueprint to what the Thunder are trying to build toward. Much like that one simple, overlooked 3rd quarter did in Dallas a year before. Rhythm, not patterns.